welcome back to the show. It's your host, Hunter Twisdale, and today I've got a very special guest with me. Someone I met here recently at the convention we went to, and I swear it felt like I met my long lost brother. All the similarities between like the military, his dad being a drummer. I mean, even up to the coins that we own, it was
Mhm.
pretty crazy. So this is my now good friend Austin Brown.
Yeah, thanks for having me, brother. I'm glad to be here. It's wild how much we had in common. I know we got the convention within the first 5 minutes. It's like you said, I met my long lost brother, and even down to the spraining the same shoulder joint, AC joint in high school football. I mean, it was a godsend and a divine appointment, if anything, man. So glad to be here. I'm glad to be doing this with you and talking about what's going on in life and how we're helping change other people's lives.
For sure, for sure, for sure. So, I'm pretty sure the audience kind of wants to know some of these crazy similarities. Do you want to share some of the ones that really just stood out to you that just was like, whoa, that's crazy?
I think the big one was the military.
Right.
I think that was one of the first things we had talked about too in line there together was our time in service, same branch, both in the Army. You were in a bit longer than I was. I had graduated college in 2021, went in, enlisted. A month later, was out to boot camp, and that was in June of 2021. And then 2.5 months later, the COVID vaccine mandate came out, and I decided it was not for me. I wasn't going to get it. No way. And so
Yeah.
6 months, about 6 months, 5 months after that is when the ultimate decision came down to, hey, we don't need you in our military anymore. And, is what it is. And stood by my convictions just like you did. And
Hmm.
our no was no. And I think God honored that because my life has been so much better, so much more blessed after the fact because came home, met my wife, have one kid, have another one on the way. But for me, that was the biggest thing that stuck out because that understanding of who you are and that decision you made, because I had to go through it too, told me everything I needed to know about you and your character. And I'm like, this is a guy I want to ride with. So that was for me, man. I don't know about you, but
No, dude, I feel the same way. I tell my wife all the time. I think the military definitely served a purpose in my life because without it, I think I would have not have been as mature as I am now. So it did help me mature in a lot of ways. It helped me learn a few things that I might need one day, and it also helped. I mean, financially, I mean, I get a little bit of disability, so I mean that's always nice.
right.
But I thought that was really crazy, and I agree when you said uh, you you saw the character that takes. I mean, I come 100% agree with you. When I found out that you went through that, I immediately was like, "Whoa, a fellow believer that went through the same thing. That's crazy." And now you're in the same business as I am. That's a godsend for sure because
Right.
it was. I know how it was for me, dude. It was a lonely ride with that whole situation getting out the military. Man, it was rough.
Yeah, no, I mean, the whole situation while it was going on, you were isolated, you were ostracized for your decision because you weren't falling in line with what they were telling you to do. Now, was it lawful? By God, no, it wasn't. That's why there's a big lawsuit going on right now. But because of our decision we made, we were outcast,
Yep.
and they tried to coerce you, manipulate you into getting it. Um, but no, we weren't willing to bend the knee and, succumb to, evil. I'll just say that to evil. And,
Yep.
so to know that another brother like yourself went through that, because I didn't have many friends to go through it with, but now I have somebody I can relate to on it. Man,
Right.
that's a blessing.
Absolutely, man. I also thought it was crazy that I swear I thought you were making this stuff up, dude. Because you're like, yeah, I became a deputy after I got out
Yeah,
of the military. I'm like, dude, me too for 3 years.
yeah.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah, man. So yeah, became a deputy after the military because I got a degree in criminal justice.
Right.
And so like, hey, better put it to use.
Right.
But it's a lot different. I absolutely respect and love everything that law enforcement does, and those that are in the military, of course, too. It just wasn't the lifestyle that I wanted to have. because I knew that I wanted to start a family. And for me personally, I was too involved at church too, serving on the usher ministry, security ministry. I was like, man, I need to be around my church family more, and it just wasn't conducive to that type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's where I drew the line and said, hey, I think I need to do something different, you know. And there's nothing wrong with trying different things. I think that's one problem our generation has is they feel like they have to fit themselves in a box, you know,
Yeah.
and they have to figure it out by the time they graduate college. That's not the
Yeah.
case, man. I mean, I talked to my dad, I'm sure I talked to Keith too. It'd be like, hey, still figuring out what I want to do, you know,
You're right.
sort of thing. It's a learning process, man, and it's never going to stop. But I've
Mhm.
never felt more in God's will and God's plan than I have now. So I'm sure you can attest to the same.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it is. I don't know how it was for you growing up there in Oregon, but in Tennessee, it's kind of like when you get out of high school, either you go to college or you make a plan to get a job and you stay in that career until you get old and retire and then you die. That's
Right.
just how I think most of the country thinks. Um, Me, on the other hand, I don't look at it like that. I'm only 24, so I'm just like, dude, I'm still young. I've got kids, but I'm still young. I need to find out what's going to work for me, what works best for not just me, but for my relationship with God, my relationship with my family, because that was a big reason I got out of law enforcement is my relationship with God was struggling heavily, man. My mental health was just not there. My relationship with God was struggling. And then my relationship with my wife and kids was like non-existent because I was always working. I was always, even when I wasn't at work, my mind was always working because I was like, I'm sure you felt the same thing when you go to a daggum store. You're always looking and just like
But yeah,
watching
I mean,
everything else.
even where we sit down in a restaurant, man, like you can't turn it off, you
Yep,
know?
for sure, dude.
Yeah. I hear you on that. And so making that mindset shift, I mean, for me it shifted a lot of other things too, because now I have to not just provide for myself, but I have to provide for my family. You know, so after that, I was really looking at what the economy was doing, debt, inflation, instability, all these sorts of things, and I wanted to look for real, tangible ways to protect my family because the way that the economy is going, you know, our dollar's worth less than 3 cents today, you
Yeah,
know, and it
for
should
sure.
be. And that led me to actually real estate. I had an investment property a few years ago that we flipped, and that was great. But since then, I just need something to store my money in of value, and that's what led me to gold and silver. Much like yourself, I can imagine.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, man. Uh, well, the best way I had to explain it, I was talking to somebody in my life. I'm not going to say who it was, but they asked them about their job. How's it going? And they're like, man, I got a great job. I get a 10% raise every year. I was like, that's fantastic. Do you know how much gold went up last year? And they're like, no. Well, it went up roughly 30%. So that 10% raise is really a 20% decrease in the pay because of the inflation. That's
Right.
not good. So I was like, when I started thinking that way and understanding what inflation really is, what net worth really is, what gold and silver can do, not just to protect your wealth, but to grow it. It's the only thing that I can think of, that and real estate. The only things that I can think of that you can actually benefit from inflation. The only problem with real estate is I've done real estate, but I mean, and it's made me some money, but I kind of feel bad when I make a house sale. Like I feel good because I got a lot of money, but I'm like, dude, I sold this house way more than it's actually worth because of inflation. And I just feel like it's just not fair to anybody. You know what I mean?
Right. No, absolutely, man. And so, and like that's what led me to the gold and silver, because of its store of value. And I was like, you know, my dollars ain't doing nothing for me. They're just sitting there. It's just paper. It's monopoly money is what we're playing with. But the latest and greatest thing, you know, cryptocurrency. You know, I said to me, it just didn't settle well in my spirit because biblically, I believe that's leading towards the end of times, right?
Yeah.
A one world digital currency, right? They can control it all.
Yep.
But gold and silver, man, it's been in the world since the book of Genesis. God's given it to us for provision, and that's it. and it'll always have value. It'll never go down. And the more that our dollar goes down, though, and the more debt we get into, the more that stuff's going to go up.
Yep.
Um, and gold and silver, it's not hypey. It's long term, and that's what I think the biggest issue for people nowadays is the instant gratification of I want it now. I want to see the results now instead of thinking 5, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, and they don't have anything to fall back on if something happens.
Yep.
Um, and the biggest thing, man, I'm stacking because I'm going to pass it on to my son and our kids and their
For sure.
kids. We're
For sure.
creating generational wealth. Proverbs 13:22, good man sets up an inheritance for his children's children, but the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous.
I think that's a common misconception in the Bible, man.
Yeah.
Everybody who is a believer that I know, they don't think that you're allowed to be wealthy, and they don't think
Mm,
silver is a good thing because they like to pick and choose what Bible verses they want to use. And
right.
there's Bible verses that say wisdom is more important and better than gold and silver. But that's
Right.
not saying that gold and silver is bad. There's other Bible
Right.
verses that say that it is actually good. God Himself said it is in the Garden of Eden. It was can't remember what the exact verse was, but he said it was good specifically, just like he said when he made everything else in this world, he said it was good.
Yeah.
Man makes it bad. So
Right.
I think that is a common misconception, 100%.
Absolutely. It's a tool just like anything else. I mean, if you want to talk about guns, it's not the guns, right? It's the people
Yep.
behind them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people and a lot of believers, they'll use that scripture, money is the root of all evil. Well, no, you left out part of that. The love of money is the root of all evil, right?
Yep.
Are you idolizing money more than God? No, money is a tool. And last time I checked, if you want to go be a missionary, it takes money to buy a plane ticket to go overseas to do it.
Yep.
So don't start talking to me about, how prosperity is not biblical. It absolutely is. Prosperity
Absolutely.
in every area of your life, finances, health, relationships.
Yeah, Jesus was financed by wealthy people in his ministries. People don't
Right.
realize that because they take out. We'll talk about that in another video, but they take
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of stuff, man. But yeah, Jesus's ministries were funded in some
Yeah.
way or another. So I mean, that's just a big misconception. I think that it's good to shed light on that because God doesn't want us to be on this earth to struggle for our entire life just to go
Yeah.
up and live wealthy and live happily. No, He wants us to live wealthy and live happily down here
Yeah.
the right way, and then go up there and live perfect.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
if 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 God Himself talks about and puts visions in people's heads of what heaven looks like and its streets of gold, obviously it's not bad.
Come on, brother. And Jesus said, pray like this on earth as it is in heaven, right? Your kingdom come, your will be done, right? Is there sickness in heaven? No. Is there disease? Is there poverty? No, there is not. We can have heaven here on earth. you
Absolutely.
know how else are other people going to know that Jesus loves them unless they see the prosperity of the gospel?
Absolutely, man. So there's just one thing I have to say because I love it. It's
Yeah.
for you and I specifically, we were trained to be mission ready at all times. I'm sure
Right.
you remember that. It's ingrained in your head from the nights
Yep.
in the field. Like you're ready all the time. Like sometimes it was hard to sleep when you were in the field because you're like, oh, I'm about to get attacked.
Yeah.
Be mission ready. Well, today the mission is financial survival and not just survival, but thriving. It's not survive, but thrive. And that's why I'm
Right.
so passionate about this industry because not only has the company that we work for made it so simple for people like you and I, they made it so simple for somebody as low as living on the streets, can't even get a house, to people who are in mansions. There's
Right.
nobody separated. This makes it
Right.
simple. Like what was I can't remember his name. The guy from Dadgummit, I'm not gonna be able. He went skydiving. You remember the guy I'm talking about?
Benjamin Haney.
Yeah, Benjamin. He said, I got a car. You know how much it cost? $5.99.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Because and one thing Roger Ball said too was never say no to a good opportunity.
Yeah,
Right? You're never going to succeed unless you take risks. If you fail, and that's okay. It's okay to fail. think we live in such a perfectionist society now that everybody's scared to fail. But
Dude,
I agree with you 100%.
we live in such an easy country to fail in, you know? Like if you fail, oh no, file for
Yeah.
day of unemployment and you're good for
Right.
until you fail again, you know? If
Right.
you keep going, even if you're at your dumps, eventually you're gonna succeed. It's
Yeah.
only when you burn the bridges and you give yourself no option but to succeed is when you're gonna succeed. You know, it's got you
Yeah.
got to change your mindset for sure.
Yeah, exactly, man. And that's what we're doing here with our company. We're not just building a business, man. We're building legacy. It's a movement, and we're giving people access to real assets that they never thought was possible before. Um,
Absolutely,
and Gold and Silver, man, it has stood the test of time. It has a 5,000 plus year track record. It's not hype. You can hold it. Here, let me see. You know, hey, you can hold it. It's right
yeah,
here.
for sure.
Physical, man. Physical. But it doesn't get much easier than that. And we're changing people's lives doing it. And what's
Absolutely,
the worst thing that can happen? This is what I tell folks. I said, you know, you come on board with us, you join our family. The worst thing that can happen to you, and I hate to say it, but your net worth is going to go up. That's the worst thing that could happen.
absolutely, man. I mean, as soon as you get a membership with us, you immediately get gold into your account. That's, I mean, you would have never owned gold more than likely if it wasn't for that.
Yeah,
And now you're
yeah.
getting at fractional purchasing, best price possible, and you can even earn it, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, some people, it starts out you earn company will give you a $250 check a week if you choose to do so, share the platform with other people. 250 bucks a week, 1,000 bucks a month, that's life changing. I
Dude,
know it's helpful for me and my family.
absolutely, man. I mean, we just went to Degum Orlando. Like,
Yeah,
we went on vacation as a business trip. What? I mean, that's amazing,
yeah. Now, dude, it was so good, and just the type of people that we were surrounded by,
dude.
I'm like,
I'm
I'm never
telling,
gonna be a part of anything else, man.
I'm telling you, dude. I've been. You ever heard of Winter Jam?
Yeah.
Dude, I've been to Winter Jam 1,000 times, and I felt more Christians was at that convention than there were at Winter Jam. Like
Yeah, man.
it was crazy, dude. It was.
Every time someone spoke, they were preaching.
Yep. It's like even if they got up there and you would think you're back of your head, you're like, oh, they're probably not a Christian, and then they immediately
Right.
start talking about God, and it's like, oh,
Right.
sweet.
Right. Yeah. And then the very first night, the VIP dinner, the founders opened up with prayer.
Yeah, that's
To
amazing,
start the
man.
whole convention off, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's truly. There's not a whole lot of companies like this whatsoever, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I love it. I'm glad to be a part of it. Glad to be doing it with guys like yourself. And I'm excited for the next person that's going to join us and to lock arms with them because we're doing it together.
Absolutely, dude. I'm ecstatic, and that's why I want everybody in my entire like every person I've ever talked to. I want them to be a part of this because of how good I know it is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
for a second, I just want to talk about timing.
Yeah.
Why is right now such a monumental time to get into something like this?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's so many reasons why now. First, look at the way the economy is going. Okay, dollar's not getting stronger; it's only getting weaker. Banks they're uneasy, they're unsteady. The inflation is eating away at your savings account, which should just be renamed a draining account.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, the price of gold and silver is climbing. At the beginning of this year, it was $2,600 an ounce around there, and it pushed past 3,400 last month.
yeah,
So you tell me, is your bank, sending you a check for your profits every month? I don't think so. Second reason is just the access to the platform that we have. Through what we're doing, it is membership based. There's two different ways to get in. The basic is 149. The legacy, which has some other benefits to it that are important to have, which everybody wants to get to, is 599. But we tell people, hey, get in where you fit in, and if you want to upgrade later, absolutely, you just pay the difference. But it's a one-time only payment. You don't have to pay it annually like Costco, which you go there to buy half the stuff you don't even need anyways.
Yeah,
But this, man, I mean, everybody needs this. There shouldn't be an excuse not to, other than just being uninformed. And that's what we're here to do is help inform people and educate people. Um, you know, you can start small, and that's fine. $1 at a time, $10 at a time, through the Sound Money wallet, which is a great technology that is exclusive to 7K. But there's no excuse to wait anymore. You either have excuses or you have results. You
absolutely.
know, otherwise you're going to be stuck doing the same thing you've always done, getting the results you've always got.
Absolutely. Uh, what is it? Someone who does the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. You know.
Yep.
And I want to touch on the education aspect for a second because I know you like
Yeah.
to talk about that one.
Yeah.
Man, the lack of education to grow wealth is insane because all that they teach in school, I don't know what they taught in your school, but all they did
Yeah.
in my school was they put a dead gum. I'm not going to say his name, but it rhymes with Gave Jamsey videos on the thing and would just let you watch that. And it sounds great. I went home. I'm motivated. I'm telling my parents, hey, I'm never going in debt ever. I'm paying for everything with cash. Sounds great. It's not real. It's not realistic. It's not with the amount of inflation. If I save up the 10% like the Jave Jamsey guy tells us to do, and we just keep it in our savings account, it's not going to be worth as much as it is the time that I put it in.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
You're not growing wealth. You're not increasing wealth. You're not protecting your wealth. You're doing the opposite, and that's why
Yeah.
people like him prey on the poor because all it takes is a few people for it to work for, and he's going to continue doing what he does.
It's true, man. And the tough thing too is that his biggest audience is believers, so they get stuck in that poverty mindset of, okay, I need to put this much away, I need to have this and this only, and that's all I know how to do. I'm not gonna listen to anybody else because Dave Ramsey, he's a Christian, he's a believer, or whatever. Well, he's not getting them the proper tools necessary to get them actually out of that pit, but they're staying in that pit, right? Giving them actually giving them a shovel in the pit to try to stand on to get out, but they're just digging themselves in a deeper hole,
Yep,
you know. So
absolutely. The richest. Have you ever read The Richest Man in Babylon?
no, but I've heard of it.
Dude, I don't. I'm not a big reader. I,
Yeah,
this past year, I've started reading a lot. I've read 4 books so far, which is good for
yeah,
me. I
that's
usually
good, man.
I usually only read one, and it's the Bible. So,
Yeah,
anyways, Richest Man in Babylon's my by far my favorite, and the reason it doesn't just wait till the end to tell you, oh, this is the secret to growing wealth. It tells you all of the things that you can do from chapter 1 all the way to the last chapter to grow wealth. The
yeah,
biggest concept that I learned from that book they talk about is you need to be able to live off of 70% of your income. And if you can't,
hmm,
you need to get rid of your debts that are holding you, or you need to live below your means more, or
right,
start making more money.
right,
Two is you need to pay the 10% of everything you make has to go to yourself no matter what. I don't care if you
mm,
have a bill, I don't care if you have this, I don't care if you have that. 10% goes to you no matter what. And it's not, they don't store up 10% in fiat dollars back then in this book. They did
right,
gold and silver. But not only did they do that, once they had a lot built up, they made the way that so it was fattening thy purse, um,
hmm,
and that was the 10% thing with the gold and silver, putting it away. And then you also want to find a way to make your money make money. Does that make sense?
yeah,
So,
yep. Cash flow, baby.
absolutely, cash flow. You got to invest into something that's smart, not risky, but smart.
Yeah,
So, one thing that they invested in was the guy in the book, he invested into the shield maker and said, "Hey, I want you to buy as much bronze or whatever as you need, build your shields, and you give me 10% of whatever you make." and he did
Hmm.
that every year. And he was a shield maker. He had a good rep. Everything about him was great. So he made a lot of money from that. And that's kind of obviously it's kind of hard to find shield makers now, but you
Yeah.
smart with what you're investing in. Gold and silver is an amazing thing to invest in, and you should. All your money, in my opinion, you shouldn't keep it in a bank account. You should keep it
Right.
into there. And if you need it, we got Sound Money Wallet with instant liquidation. Liquidate it.
Right.
But
Just like that.
I
Yep.
mean, that's the best way to do it. And then if you want to keep it in there, fantastic. But you need it every now and then. So say you raise $10,000, take
Yep.
2,500 of that and put it into something else that is pretty consistent. That way, you're not wasting all your money, but you're doing something
Right.
to give you cash flow. You know what I mean? But
Right.
not a risky thing, something
Right.
consistent like real estate or, um, there's tons of different things out there. But that's
Yeah.
the great concept that I learned in that book. You should read it. You would enjoy it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I've definitely heard of it. It's like you said, I've never been like the biggest reader either. Yeah, I know I need to, and I'll find every excuse not to sit down and grab a book. But
Audiobooks, man.
yeah,
Game changer. Every time I was driving in the car, I was playing that daggum thing.
yep. No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Oh,
So let's talk a little bit about stacking, man.
yeah.
What is your favorite thing that you've stacked so far?
Um, Obviously we got gold and silver, right? We got our traditional bullion,
Yep.
but we also have collectibles, and that's another tool that we have. It's another facet of what we do, and I like to think of those as more of an offensive weapon because it's not only gold or silver, but it's a piece of artwork too, which holds intrinsic value because there's a rarity to them and there's a limited mintage or amount produced made for that particular collectible. So that doesn't only retain its value because it is a precious metal, but because of the artwork, made and created inside of the coin, um, it'll only go up in value. I know there's been several examples that we've seen, like there was like a state coin collection, right? And the Montana butterfly.
Yeah, the Montana butterfly, dude.
Yeah, it went for what did it sell for originally?
It was like it was
Like
on the auto
$120.
it was on the auto saver like $130 or something. Like it was cheap.
Yeah, and now it's worth anywhere from 5,000 to 10 grand or 8 grand, I think,
Yeah.
which is amazing. I mean, the profit margin on that is nuts.
Yeah, for sure. That's
But
one thing I love about our company is those coin drops you do. Like just about every one you get, you're immediately getting a profit because they
yeah,
mark it down so much, and then you can
right,
immediately go flip it or hold it. My
right,
the one I just won recently at the coin drop was the Aristocats 1 ounce silver stamp, and that
yeah,
is so cool, man.
yeah, yeah. Well, another thing, I mean, aside from the collectibles, I just like having, let's see if it focus,
Yeah,
just bullion, man, just
yeah.
silver coins, and it it's cool because of how affordable they are right now, but how needed they are within the economy in different industries, whether that's, you know, batteries, solar panels. I mean, you name it. Solar panels are, exploding. They're booming everywhere.
Hmm.
So silver is going to be needed, and then that's why, it's led to believe that it's very undervalued right now too. It's being
Dude,
suppressed a lot.
what was that? The U.S. debt.
The U.S. debt clock.
Man, was it's I get a
Isn't that
thousand.
amazing? Yeah, it's over $1,000 for the real value. It's like street value of silver right
And
now.
it's going for like $32 an ounce right now. So
Yeah,
if you put $3,200 in there and you get 100 ounces, once they finally revalue silver the way they're supposed to,
yeah,
that's going to be worth $100,000
yeah,
from thirty
yeah.
two hundred dollars. Talk about a return right there, man.
Right, and it's better to do it that way than to buy an ounce of gold, right? Because an ounce of gold, if it's an American Eagle, it's pushing 3,500 dollars an ounce.
Hmm.
But the trading value or the street value for that is only right around $8,000, on that US debt clock. So the difference between that, man, I'd sure as heck like having a lot more silver with that sort of increase, than trying to afford one piece of gold, 1 ounce of gold.
for sure, dude. I mean,
So I love silver.
yeah, I'm a silver guy myself because the amount of potential for growth is what excites me because you can get a lot more of it now because it's so undervalued. Uh,
Right.
so I'm excited about that, dude. Before I forget, I didn't realize how many coins are out there that people don't realize are like, hey, that's worth a lot of money. What I mean
Yeah.
by that is my wife, she's been she's been just getting coins from stuff all of her life. She just thought they looked cool. She didn't really think about it.
Hmm.
They were just given to her.
Yeah.
I've got a 1 ounce copper Lincoln wheat. Or you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, that looks really cool. I scanned it because it just looked like a giant penny. And I
Yeah.
scanned it with my little app, and it was worth like $160. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
dude. Yeah, man. I mean, if you, yeah, you got like a big jar of coins or something, anybody out there that has a big jar of coins, like start looking through there because misstamps are worth a lot of money too.
Mm-hmm.
Where the stamp isn't just quite right.
Or
Certain dates, certain years,
yep, the old when they still use silver on the half dollars, the old Kennedys, man, those are worth a
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and the old quarters too, they used silver, I think, but now they don't now because you can see the copper or the brass around the outside of the coin on the edge. So they're not there's nothing in them but that.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I do. There's so much value in money, especially the historical coins too. We had a guy from our church who inherited a big old box from his stepdad, and he had coins, walking. I think it was like walking liberties, dating back to the late 1700s.
wow,
And dude, they're pushing like $20,000 a coin. Insane.
that's amazing.
So people are sitting on gold mines that they don't even know about.
Man, I had somebody message me the other day and asked if I buy coins. I'm like, send some pictures. I'll let you know if I buy 'em.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely.
'Cause there's some good ones out there, man. You just got to know what you're looking for. And there's nowadays nobody's got any excuses. There's so many apps when it comes to
Oh
that.
yeah,
You just take a picture of it and it'll tell you, hey, this is what it's usually going to be about, and then you just go
yeah,
get it graded and increase that value even more. And then
yeah,
for us, we got stack and sell. So
yeah. Yep, stack and sell. And then I would say too, like if anybody's listening, that's not like, obviously involved and on our team yet, like if you try to go down to a pawn shop, a coin shop, they are going to price gouge the crap out of you for trying to sell your coins or your metals there. With our company, we have one of the highest buybacks in the entire industry for coins, for gold and silver, which is another great perk that our company offers.
yeah. What was that thing Josh Anderson said? He said he took like 4 monster boxes of silver to
Yeah,
to several different pawn shops, and they were offering like 6,000 or more under what it was actually
yeah.
valued at.
Yeah,
That's
they couldn't pay more than that because they wouldn't have made a profit, and so you're getting screwed there.
yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I love about our company is that we're working for. It's because I mean they really are for the people, unlike all the other ones. I mean, I just
Yeah.
found out. Did you know that we send out more packages every month than any other gold and silver supplier in the world?
Wow. Yeah, I knew we were kind of leading the industry, but it's got to be a lot.
Yeah. So somebody said I don't remember if it was per week or per month, but I'll just say per week because I think that's what it was. But we send out like 100,000 packages per week, whereas the other guys, the closest one, sends out 30 something thousand a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. No, it's insane, man. What we're doing, and it's because of that technology with the sound money wallet too, that these other companies aren't able to get because our founders came up with it. And so being able to buy fractionally and so you can afford the whole thing
Yeah.
is game changing because most people they just want to buy a half gram little gold bar or whatever, but it's it's marked up 50, 60, $70 more than it should be.
Yeah.
So they're getting screwed, man. And that's the mission of the company was to get gold and silver into people's hands that need it the most and to help average people make an above average income, if they choose to do so. And so sticking to that messaging of no, like you only need $1 to start owning gold. It's crazy, man. It's huge. And so I'm excited for what we're doing, for what's coming, what's happening. And we're building a community. It's not just customers, but it is a family, and I definitely got that vibe when we were down there in Orlando. Real values. You got people from all walks of life. You got veterans. You got single moms. Retired folks, young folks. Everybody needs this right now, whether they know it or not. It's just a matter of time until they hear the message that it's go time. Stop making excuses. Do something to protect you and your family.
Absolutely. I could not have said that better. So if anybody's listening right now and you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. You need to reach out, join us, start protecting what matters, and be a part of something so much bigger than just some business. You know?
Yeah, no, it's true. Like I said earlier, we do this together. So we'll build this thing together with you. You choose to lock arms with us. We've got the blueprint, we've got the systems in place to make this successful for you. And now is the time. So don't wait any longer.
Oh, absolutely not at all. Because man, this is one of the most simple, duplicatable systems in the industry, and anybody, not just me, not just Austin, but literally anybody who wants to make a above average income can do so through this system if they do what we teach you. So
Yeah.
um, that's it for today's show. Austin, thank you again for being here, brother, and we're definitely gonna do this again. So just let me know your
Yeah,
schedule.
man.
We'll hop on.
Yeah. Let's do it, man. I'm looking forward to it.